What's going on, guys? Billy here, and just like all of the other small folding drones, the Mavic Air has a very low clearance level. The Mavic Pro sits 22 millimeters off of the ground, the Spark is much lower at 5 millimeters off of the ground, and the Mavic Air comes in just between those two at 18 millimeters off of the ground. That distance measured is from the ground to the bottom of the camera, so the body of these drones actually sits a lot lower, especially the Spark, which basically rests on the underside of the body. Now, these small drones are great for traveling with. They're easy to throw in your backpack, but it poses a big problem when trying to take off and land. Not only will the propellers get caught in high grass when you try to prime the motors, but any small pebbles along the ground could damage the camera during its initial calibration upon startup. For each of the drones that I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the Spark and the Mavic Pro, I used a set of extended landing gear whenever I wasn't taking off from a smooth, flat surface like pavement or, let's say, my deck. The Mavic Air is no exception, and this time around, Polar Pro was kind enough to send out some for me to test. So the design of them is pretty simple. You get 4 pieces for each of the 4 arms of the Mavic Air, and you can just tell they are high quality from the minute you take them out of their packaging. They feature rubber feet for landing on delicate or rough surfaces, a rubber liner inside of the clamp that wraps around the arms to protect your drone from scratches and to provide a nice fit. And finally, the build quality is great. They don't break or bend, so you don't have to worry about your drone when it's landing. As far as the installation is concerned, they simply slide onto each arm. It does take a bit of force, but I don't mind because that means they're on tight. Just make sure to apply pressure from the top when you're pushing the landing gear on so you don't accidentally break off the arm. Also, just a side note, the taller legs go on the front arms to compensate for the propellers and motors in the front being up a little bit higher. With the extended landing gear fastened in place, the Mavic Air's clearance level raises up to 35 millimeters off of the ground. Heading outside, we can see just how much of a difference it makes when taking off or landing in many different terrains such as dirt, taller grass, and even small pebbles. If we look back at some of these areas, except this time around with the landing gear off, we'll notice that it may have been possible to prime your motors and get up in the air, but the extended landing gear will give you a much better peace of mind. The one thing that does get annoying is when you're done flying, they have to come off to fold the drone back up. These pieces are pretty small, so make sure you keep track of them inside of your bag. Something else people will probably be wondering is how this affects the performance of the drone. They really aren't that heavy, so they don't add that much weight, meaning the drone is able to fly just as fast. Also, when banking from side to side or spinning in a circle, the legs don't show up on the sides of the frame. Due to their placement just behind the camera, you won't have to worry about any interference. An alternative to this is hand launching and hand catching your Mavic Air, but I know there are many people out there who are against this, so this is perfect for those who would prefer keeping their drone on the ground. Now, usually I wouldn't dedicate this short of a video to something as small as just extended landing gear for your Mavic Air, but the clearance level on this drone is so small that I figured I'd bring it to your attention, and if you guys are interested, I'll leave a link down in the description. I believe that they're $20, $19.99. They really don't look too bad, although it looks a little bit goofy sitting higher off of the ground with the tall legs, but again, it really could come in handy if you're out there taking off from a gravel road, some grass, or maybe even the dirt. But guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.